So can you please brief yourself?
Okay. Yeah, I'm having around 9 years of total experience in IT. Like I have 6+ years of experience, around 6 years of experience in ETL technologies and Oracle PL SQL. So, and recently I have started working in Hadoop and in Hive and Spark, PySpark mainly into these technologies from around 4 years, around 4 years. I'm working on this. Yeah. So I have worked in banking domain industries and also some few service-based industries. Currently working in a banking company. Yeah. So coming to my daily activities, it will be like we have a very big project in which like we receive a lot of files from different areas, from different teams, we can say, and those files actually which come into our underlying Hive tables, and so we process the Hive tables in PySpark, and we again after processing we again store it in the HDFS itself, and those files some teams consume those files for again their own usage, and also we load into AWS S3 buckets, which will be used by our consumer teams. Basically, it's a bank domain. We do a lot of validations. Actually, the same project was already there in the Oracle PL SQL earlier. What we have done is we have replicated the same into the Spark environment, into the Hive and PySpark, and now also we are doing enhancements to the existing system. So this is the high level design of what I am doing right now.
Okay, Kumar. I need more of your project that currently you are executing. Okay, so you said you're doing your final data is moving to some teams, right? So what are those teams?
Yeah, basically it's like if a particular account card holder, it can be a particular loan account holder, or it can be a credit card holder or anything. So what we do is generally if the customer is the account holder, if the lender is actually paying them at the right time or not. If not, why he is not actually paying? What are the reasons? And what is the type of loan it is? And is it a loan or is it a card? Or if it is a card, like what kind of card it is, and from where the source is coming, and all these details we validate. And is the person alive or not? And if he is alive, why he is not paying? Is it a genuine reason? And all these details we validate in our system, and also this data will be consumed by other teams in our organization. Like they generate some reports, analytical reports, like from which region, how many people are actually paying, and why they are not paying, and if they are all these reasons. So they will do reports based on this data.
That is fine. I think you are saying more about the functionality and what exactly that you do as part of business logic.
Yeah.
You said a lot of data validations, right? So for this, what are the technologies that you are using currently?
Yeah, actually we get data from the stream sets. So we get a target files, and we on top of these target files, we already have it Hive tables created. So we use these Hive tables in PySpark and do this like whatever the validations I told. So we do that validations in PySpark, and again we load it into the HDFS.
So why we use Hive? Can't we use PySpark alone to do this kind of validation?
We need a storage system, right? That is the reason we cannot.
So storage anyway will directly use HDFS, right? Why should we use Hive?
Yeah, not just for storage. We also do some querying, like like in the Hive, in the like pre-processing steps, and also like we can do querying in Hive, and also those Hive tables, intermediate Hive tables are also used for some other team, not only for our team. So that is the reason we are choosing Hive, because it acts as a multi-purpose.
So how you are, you said you are using Hive combination with Spark, right? So how you are integrating, or what type of transformations that you are doing? After doing these transformations, how you are trying to load in a Hive table by using Spark?
After doing the transformations in PySpark, we use the PySpark commands like write.save as table, data frame.write.save as table, so that we can load it into the Hive table.
That will create every time a table, right? So
right.
Is it the same requirement? Like, is it a full load or delta load that you are trying to do?
It is actually both. We have full loads as well as the delta loads also.
What is the process of volume of data that you are going to process, or presently you are processing?
It actually, full load will be like some few millions, maybe some 40 millions, like that. I mean, it varies from table to table. Some of the tables will have 40 million, some will have 10, and some will have only some 50,000 or something. Like, so it varies from table to table.
Mm-hmm. What is the version of the PySpark that you are using?
We are using 3.x, 3.2, I think so. It's 3.x.
Mm-hmm. What about Hadoop?
Hadoop is also 3.x right now we are using.
Mm-hmm. What is the distribution currently that we are using?
We are using Cloudera. Cloudera 6.2, I believe. 6.x, but 2 or not, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Are you sure? Is it 6.2?
Yeah.
Cloudera, what is the current version? Or is it still alive? Like, are these people are using nowadays? Anybody is using Cloudera?
I think Cloudera is, I think it is, there is some change in Cloudera. I don't know what is the current version, but I don't, it's like CVH now it is moving to some cloud based. I'm not sure exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What is scheduler that being used in your project currently?
We are using AutoCase jobs for now. The PySpark commands, Spark submit commands, whatever we write, that we are actually calling from shell script. Those shell scripts will be calling from AutoCase jobs right now.
Mm-hmm. So, do you have an experience in shell script also? How to write and all?
Yeah, I worked like a few years ago on shell scripts. Basic commands I know, and I can do a little bit of coding as well.
Mm-hmm. Sure. In PySpark, right? So, what are the major transformations that we are doing? Like, what are the actions or transformations that we are using?
Yeah, now we generally use it on data frames, maybe like with column, based on by giving a with column, we'll do some case operations, explode and all, the flatten, and many other operations we do on the data frame.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I will ask you one straightforward question, right?
Okay.
So how can we minimize the data transfer when we are working with Spark?
How can we
minimize the data transfer when we are doing any transformations or executing any Spark job?
Minimize the data transfer. You mean like how it can be faster? You are asking?
I mean, how can we minimize the data transfer? I'm saying shuffling. How
So,
can you minimize shuffling?
Okay, narrow transformations generally don't do shuffling, whereas the wide transformation do shuffling. Generally using of wide transformations like joins or group by or any aggregate will generally do a wide transformations and will cause shuffling. While the narrow transformations will not cause shuffling and minimize the IOs.
You're correct, but my question is a little different. Okay, I know the difference between these two, whatever you're saying. Okay, narrow and wide transformations. But my question is, when we have it, we should do wide transformations, things like that. But can we minimize the shuffling?
Okay. And maybe we can use a repartition or collace by reducing the number of partitions, and so that the shuffling also it runs across less number of partitions, right? So
what is the difference between coalesce and repartition?
Yeah, coalesce actually will do less shuffling, because suppose if we have suppose 20 partitions, and now we want to reduce it to 4, so or 10. So out of 20, so only 10 partitions will be touched, and between 11 to 20, those partitions data will be moved to the 1 to 10. So 1 to 10 will not be shuffled; they remain as it is, while 11 to 10 only will be moved. Whereas repartition, it will do a full shuffling.
Kumar, like when you said by using repartitioning, you can reduce the shuffling, right? Like even though you do repartition, the size of the data would not change, right? So the amount of data. See, like when you repartition or do coalesce, it's just the number of partitions. It's just the division of the data that is going to be changed, right?
Yeah.
So it's not the data is not going to reduce. The amount of data that you are handling is going to remain the same, right? So in that case, like the amount of data that needs to be transferred, it remains the same. So like changing repartition, how do you think like repartitioning or coalesce reduce shuffle?
Did you understand, Kumar?
Yeah, I understood. I understood the question. Let me think 1 second.
All right. If you are not sure about it, you please try to learn after this. And these type of questions definitely will face in an interview. Okay. And practically, you should understand the case and also try to get some experience and hands-on, so that you will get a complete knowledge. Not only reading theoretical part is not enough. We should practice it in a practical. In a hands-on. Then definitely you will get a difference between the coalesce and repartition. Okay. Anyway, we'll try to discuss in the end. While we are giving the feedback, all these type of discussions. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Giri, you want to proceed?
Yeah.
So, Kumar, like I would like to touch upon the SQL part of data engineering. So, how comfortable are you with SQL?
And the voice is very low, actually.
Yeah. So, I'm just asking, how comfortable are you with SQL?
Yeah. I'm good at SQL.
Okay. So, do you know like what is the order of execution of execution in SQL?
Order of execution in
SQL, as in when you execute a query, right? Like how does the what is you have an order, right? So first, like the join might happen, then the group by or where and having. So do you know like what happens first and what sequence?
So in the star SQL you're asking?
No, I mean core, yeah.
So first it checks the semantics, like if everything is syntactically right, and then it actually generates an execution plan. And as part of the plan, using the optimizer creates a best effective plan.
No, Kumar, that is all fine, but I'm specifically asking you. So there are certain keywords you use, right? You use from, you use join, you use group
Where.
by, having, where, you use order by, limit, select, right? Like, so among these, yeah.
So where first happens, and first it filters the number of records, and on top of that, group by will happen on the filtered data, and after grouping, if there is any halving clause, then the halving apply on top of everything. Yeah.
So do you think join happens first or where happens first?
It actually depends. We can force it using the hints also. But generally, where will happen first, and then on top of it, join will happen.
You're saying in core SQL, when you are using Oracle SQL, you are saying PL SQL, you are saying like join happens after the data is filtered.
Right.
So, do you know what predicate pushdown is?
Yeah, I know. Like, suppose if we have subqueries, right? If there are multiple subqueries, if we are having a predicate on the outer query, so if we want to if we use a predicate pushdown hint, then what we do is first it will apply that it will take that predicate to the inside, and then the validations happen and the joins happen, so that it can be a faster way to get the output.
So if you are doing a left outer join or right outer join, right? So you think the where filter happens first and then the left join happens, or join happens and then the where filters are executed?
So when we do A left outer join B, it actually gets the total A data and then filter, and then it will whatever joins happens, that will work out.
No, that is not the case, Kumar. So there, like, predicate pushdown is something that is some smart way of doing executing SQL. So generally, like, from happens first and then join, and then data is going to the data where filter is executed. So if you want to try out, you can try executing a query left or right outer join with where condition and without where condition, and you will see the difference. I would suggest you to do that, please. And so going on, right? Like, so if there are let us say like four different columns, four different records. So there is a student table with IDs 1122. So there are two distinct student IDs, 1 and 2, which are repeating twice. So in four records, yeah, and the same table is being joined. So it is just like student left join student again. The student table is being left joined with student again. So like for different types of joins, right? Inner join or left join, right? What are the? Can you think of like what would be the output count, number of records count?
So the table is same, right? That you are doing a self join and left outer join. That's what you are saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. For inner join, if you are doing inner join, it will be equal to the number of records, because the same table you are joining, right? Suppose now it is having 4 records, right?
Yeah. By default, they have 4 different records. Yeah.
Yeah, inner join will give as we are using same table, so inner join will give the same number of records. Even left outer join, 1 second. Left outer join also will give 4 records because the same data, right? Yeah.
So let us say there are 2 different records. The first one with the student ID 1 and the second one with student ID 1. So the first record with student ID 1, is it not going to join with 2 different records in the right table, which are having both 1 and 1? Is it going to join only with one record or two records?
So what happens in left outer join is it takes the whole data of the left side table and it joins for each and every record of the with the joining column. If there is data, then it will show it will get that particular data here.
See, I mean,
so here,
yeah, Kumar, go ahead.
Yeah. So sorry, it will give the 6 records. One for one there will be 2, and for another one there will be 2, and for for each record it will be doubled actually.
So for left joint, you say there are going to be 8 records now.
Yeah.
For inner join?
For inner join it will be 4 only.
So like, what is the difference between inner join and left join in this case?
Inner join. Okay, just give me a second. Actually, you have confused me.
Yeah, take your time.
Yeah. Inner join only generally with the joining columns, right? It gives us only the joining columns, joining data, matched data. But for left outer join, it gives the matched data, and if there is no data in the right side, it will give us null. So yeah, and because now it's a self join.
Yeah. So inner join, like, what is your final answer?
Here in this case, both inner join and left outer join give same records, same number of records.
Yeah. So that is right. Like you said, it was going to be 4 for both. Yeah. So
Okay.
you just have to like give it a thought before giving the answer, Kumar. Yeah. And so like, what are the optimization techniques that you think? I mean, that you have. So if you were given a query and you were said that it is taking very long time, how are you going to optimize it? What are some things that you are going to look for and change?
In PySpark, you mean?
No, SQL, core SQL.
Yeah, in core SQL, if you are like if you have any redundancy or something, then we'll try to reduce it. And suppose if there is any not in conditions or something like that, then we try to reduce it. And also maybe we can try use of hints like parallel or join or anything. We can use it. If it is an insert query or something, maybe we can use append or something like that. So basically, we have to see the execution plan, and based on if there are any statistics outdated, then we can do the statistics updated first, and then we can rerun the query. We have to do trial and error actually. Where it is actually causing issue, and like based on the trial and error and execution plan, we can get the time reduced, performance improved.
So, I mean, would you suggest someone using trial and error to optimize?
No, if it is a development, yes, definitely. And if it is a production, we cannot do a trial and error. So, if maybe we have to see if there is any Cartesian joining or something like that is happening, yeah, like whatever I have said earlier. So we can do that based on the execution plan, and we can get that with the SQL ID of that. We can see the execution plan. Maybe we can get some solution out of it.
Okay, so if you were to update like a huge table, right? Let us say there is around 10 million records in the table, and you should update only 1,000 records. So how do you do it?
Okay. So instead of updating a 10 million record, what I would say is we can maybe if it is having partitions or something, we can do there is we have a partition exchange, so maybe that could help us. Or else we can, otherwise we can do actually loading to the temporary table and then update, right? You are saying?
Yeah.
Actually, I have not prepared for Oracle interview, but you are asking Oracle interview.
No. It is not. See, SQL is the basic for any data engineering interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but updates generally we won't do anything in the.
Kumar, see, the question which was asked by Giri is most related to concept. Okay, that kind of scenario definitely will face in real time project execution. Okay.
Yeah, actually, already I know, but actually thing is, right.
It doesn't matter that we should use only SQL. It doesn't matter that we should use PySpark. It's a concept. We have to give our approach on that.
Yeah, I know, but actually I have not brushed up any of my Oracle because I thought like I'm not going to work on it. So
it's not Oracle. That's what I'm saying. It's not a question for Oracle. It's a common question where you have to use your intelligence and try to give a solution. Okay.
Yeah, right. I know, but if coming to interview, like if I'm coming to interview, then if I practice something, then I could give the best answer, right? So now it is like I'm not giving any answer without preparation. So because I have not practiced any Oracle right now.
Okay. So Kumar, like how would you do it in Spark?
Spark generally it won't allow updates, right?
No, see, like you do something like SCD type 2. How do you implement SCD type 2 or type 3 in Spark?
Yeah, with in the data frame and with column we can do. Suppose there is a column. In the with column we can put that column name is equal to different where, and we can apply filter, and that we can copy to the new data frame or to the same data frame.
Kumar, the question is this one. Do you know SCDs? How many types of SCDs we have?
Slowly changing dimension is SCD.
Yes, the definition is correct. I mean, abbreviation is correct. But do you know how many types we have and just knowledge on it?
No, in Spark I don't know. No.
How will you implement? Implement this delta event load?
Delta?
Or incremental load?
So basically, for delta loads, what we do is we, with the help of timestamp for a particular day on that, we load it as a separate bucketed file, so that we can have all the files data in a table, so that we can query as it acts like an incremental. It is not exactly an incremental, but it acts like an incremental based on the date.
So that is fine. If we are getting any new records, based on the timestamp, you will pick up and you will try to insert into your target table. That is good. The second question is, what if the existing data got modified, but we need to pick that existing data or modified data and update in a target table? What kind of approach you will follow? Hope you got my question, right?
Yeah. You are saying like if there is a change in data, how you are going to get that?
That's what Giri asked. Yeah. So Kumar, so let us say the customer has taken a loan and let us say credit card information, right? In the credit card information, the customer's address has changed. So how are you going to handle that? So in the table, finally you should have only the latest record, not the previous address. For any given customer, the data should contain the latest updated information.
Right. We will take a unique ID, and based on that, if there is any difference, we'll take the latest as per that. Maybe we can use a rank function here, or a Windows rank function, or an analytic function based on the partition by unique column, and in the group of like all the columns. So descending by the timestamp column, and And on top of that, maybe we can write another query by selecting a top record. So that will give the latest record for that. That's it.
Hey, Kumar, just take an example now. So let us say Kumar is the data, and Kumar's city has changed from Bangalore to Hyderabad. Kumar's ID is 10. So currently the data in customer table is 10. 10 is the customer ID. Customer name is Kumar, and city is Hyderabad. Bangalore. So that is the current state. From the source, you are getting another data which says 10 is the customer ID, Kumar is the name, but Hyderabad is the city. So rest all fields are same. So from the source, you are getting updated city called Hyderabad. So how are you going to update it in the target table?
Yeah. So let's say already we have Bangalore as a record in the existing table, right? And now we are loading. Suppose we are loading in the new record as a. We are loading both records into a table, and in another table we'll write a query on top of this table with a window function like partition by 10 and giving all the columns and descending by time. If there is no timestamp column, then we can introduce a timestamp column like the old data with the old date and the new record with the new data with a new date, and we can do a order by descending. And then on top of that, if we write a query, then we'll get the top record, right? So that way we can get the latest record. That way we can load the new records into our final table.
So even if the table is very huge, generally we use Spark for large data, right? So even when you are having millions of records, you are going to follow the same approach?
Yeah, but generally we do, it is not a single file, right? Because it will be all partitioned and bucketed table, right? So maybe first we can do a partition and which can reduce into number of directories, and then we can use a bucketing. Suppose department ID data, and suppose it is 10 million data, and we have suppose 10 departments. Now the data will be converted into 10 directories, and again we can, based on some unique ID, we can do a bucketing so that each directory it will be it will be in 10 out of 10 directories. So maybe four files it will be reduced. So it is got reduced to the granular level, right? So now it would be a little easier. That's what if you're applying the same query also, I think maybe it will reduce the time.
So, every time you are not going to update only one particular data from one particular bucket, right? You have to update all the data. You might have like thousands of buckets, and you might have to update data from let us say 100 buckets out of it. So do you think this approach would be efficient way to do that?
I think this works, but I'm not 100% sure. Yeah.
Okay, so practically, did you implemented this use case in Spark in your project?
Yeah, right. We have we do it in a department wise, so that it was not a problem. We have not seen any very big problems actually.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of errors did you face, or the typical errors that you faced while submitting a Spark job, and how did you handle those?
Yeah, sometimes we have seen memory issues, and because actually we were using some actions like collect and collect actions. So what was happening is it was getting all the information into the driver node, and we were unable to process it. So
Kumar, did you get a case where in production you have used collect and you have corrected that?
No. This is in development. I'm talking about development only, not in production.
Kumar,
Yeah.
anyway, we mostly discuss on questions on only production because generally in dev, right, we will do a lot of experiments. But in real time, when we are discussing or when we face any interview, right, we should take production as an ideal case and give our answers. Okay. So, so Kumar, what is the difference between client mode and cluster mode in Spark?
Yeah, in client mode, actually the driver JVM process will be residing in the client JVM, whereas in the cluster, the driver node will reside in the cluster actually. So in the client, driver process will be there in the client side. Whereas in the cluster, the driver will be residing in the cluster.
Do you know what is the size of the cluster of in your company or for this project that you are?
Yeah, we have around 80. The cluster size is 80. So we have around 90 plus 98 execute 98 nodes we have as a data nodes.
You said 80, and how come it is 98?
No, 98 only.
98 is the cluster size?
No, 100 is the cluster size. We have 98 data nodes, and we have one driver and one backup driver.
You mean name node?
Yeah, name node.
When we submit any application or Spark application, so where this driver program will be created? Is it in name node or is it in data node?
Spark submit command will run in the driver node. When we give the Spark submit command, right, the driver actually will creates a plan, creates a DAG, and it actually converts the job into the status and the task.
Kumar, understood. I'm not asking the question that's internal architecture of how the Spark job executes the queries. I'm not asking that. When you submit a Spark application, where driver program will be created? Is it in data node or in name node?
It's in the name node only, not in the data node.
Okay. So driver program will be created in name node. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So if you Naresh. So if you are submitting the code from let us say a computer which is not a system which is not in the cluster, right? And you have done. So you said like the driver is going to be set up like sitting in the driver node, right? Name node, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens if we do submit the Spark job in client mode? So in client mode, the driver is going to sit in the customer end, right? Not in the cluster.
Correct.
So how would how would that happen? That the driver is going to be available in the name node.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, right? Name node will be always, a driver will be always in the name node only, irrespective of the client mode or cluster mode.
So if I am submitting Spark program, right, like from the edge node, so it is going to be present in the edge node, right, not in the name node.
Yeah, I don't have idea on edge node actually.
No, like generally, if you are submitting a job to the Spark cluster, where are you going to submit the job from?
From the driver, from the name node.
No. Like while executing, like in production, you will access the name node first and then submit the command from the name node.
No, from our client machine. From our client, we give it and it connects to the driver, and then driver actually do the rest of the processing. So
when you are saying client, right, and you have submitted the job in client mode, how will the driver go and sit in the name node and not in the client machine?
Our question is not very clear actually. The client is always.
Okay, Kumar, fine, that's fine. I think I'm done. If you are also done, then we'll try to give some feedback. Then we'll close the call. I have a class at 4 p.m.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think I'm good, Naresh.
So Kumar, do you have any questions or what you are expecting from us? So that we'll try to give you an feedback on this interview. You know what? Definitely an interviewer, even you don't say something or regarding your experience or your theoretical knowledge, interviewer can able to get it from you in single question. Okay, that's completely based on your answers only. Okay, you no need to explain to him explicitly. They can easily identify whether you have a real-time experience or only theoretical experience. Okay, by reasoning your answers. Okay, so you should be very careful. Like if you did it, no problem. If you did not do that project, then you should do at least one demo project and get a practical experience. Then that will give a very good knowledge. Okay.
Actually, I'm having a real in my system. Actually, I do practice a lot of Hive and Spark. Even I do in Databricks also community version. So I do practice, but I don't know in the interview. Actually,
Kumar, yeah, understood. See, where you are lacking is especially in a Spark theoretical path. Definitely, you should understand how when you submit a Spark application, how exactly it will happen. Okay, in real time. Okay, that you should learn it because the answers that you gave us regarding these questions are not up to the mark. We can say there is a flaw in that, so you should concentrate that part. And I think many of questions you answered correctly, but yeah, almost 30 to 40% you have to revisit your answers. Okay. So and practical is also when we ask some questions and scenario based, then that area you should try to cope up. Okay. And error handling, like when you are getting any failed job failures in a production, then how will you able to resolve it? Where you will try to see the loss and how will you able to resolve those kind of scenarios? Okay. And what type of question, what type of problem that you have been faced during your project execution, and how you have given your solution. Okay, this is very important. Due to some time constraint, we didn't continue further. Giri, if you have any suggestions to him, you can also.
Yeah. So, like you said, from the answers you have given, I think like you are lacking, in some cases you are lacking that practical approach. You might not have implemented these use case or come across such use cases, but you try to answer with whatever knowledge you have by guessing what would happen. So like I think I would suggest you to start appearing for interviews if you think you are up to the mark, and like whatever questions you were not able to answer, I would suggest you to like do a practice that such use cases. And while answering questions on SQL, right, like I would suggest you to like take your time and think about it. So for example, in here you said the inner join and left outer join would give 4 records each instead of 8, right? And the execution order, you said where is going to be executed first instead of from and join. So such things, like you just have to give a thought. You don't have to answer right away. You can just take a moment and analyze such questions. Practical, I mean, these type of questions, right? Solving something, you can take time and think out loud maybe, and then give the answer. So yeah, I think like you have done well in most of the questions that were asked, but yeah, you do have a certain concepts or topics to improve on. I think like you got to know by yourself, because I mean you yourself know like in which questions you felt uncomfortable answering, but you answered anyway. So I think like you can judge that by yourself.
Yeah, actually, this is my first interview. I thought of, I just created the resume for this interview, and then, yeah, this is my first interview. So, yeah,
I mean, like, Kumar, like if this is the first interview, I think that for a first interview, you have done you have done good for it.
Even I thought you had some experience in interview. But
nowhere
we felt that you are attending a fresh interview. That part you are doing better. Okay, definitely I'm sure if this is your first interview, no need to worry. Very soon you will get a job. Okay, but thing is you should improve these cases. Okay?
Yeah, basically, actually, I'm having experience in PL SQL only from very long time. I have worked in good organizations like Accenture, ADP, State Street, and Wells Fargo right now. So, but what I'm thinking is instead of working in the old legacy applications, right? PL SQL, Oracle, and Informatica, Unix, and Perl scripting, all this, I do work generally. But so I actually want to migrate into a better technology. So I need to have a long career, right? So these are almost dying skills. So that's why.
Yeah, we understand. I think we can appreciate you that you have taken a right decision at right time. And all the best for your career. You might be in our WhatsApp group also.
Right? I'm not there.
Okay, better you join by clicking the link which is given in our latest video. Okay, so that more people in that group. Okay, we have a lot of big people, our community we already found. Definitely it will be useful for your future.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye.